Hello, viewers. It's me again, courtesy of William and his wonderful radio station, Community Access Radio, 1690 AM, the one. I don't know how y'all like to say that, but it is the one. Grateful to be back for the fourth of my installments, dealing with Alzheimer's awareness, a bit of Alzheimer's action, and firsthand knowledge from caregivers, particularly the emphasis is on them. I haven't brought in anyone from the medical field. They would just talk over my afro, so why bring them in? You know, it's like, oh, look, I know people get sick with it, the neuroreceptors, et cetera, this doesn't work and that doesn't work. We are, however, walking for a cure, not to speak ill of the need for a cure and their wonderful knowledge and how many doctors and many teams of doctors are working on this. But I am, the perspective that I'm working from is awareness, especially for us Omahans, us Midland people. We have resources. I'm going to just hit this one right off the bat. Anyone who is concerned about Alzheimer's in their loved ones is urged to call two different places. The Alzheimer's Association chapter of the Midlands chapter can be reached through a 24/7 hotline. So don't worry about the time of day. They will connect you to them. If you only remember one number, whatever time of the day it is, they will direct you to them, and you can begin to speak on your concerns for your loved one. I doubt that any Alzheimer's, the people with the disease will call anyone about this, but they might, But whatever happens, they're going to need caregivers around them. And I have today as a guest a caregiver that I know of in just personally because of her care for my mother before she ended up in a care facility. And she's an amazing woman. And there's so many questions I want to ask her. But anyway, I want to begin like I did the other day, just answering actually the question, what is Alzheimer's? Once again, Alzheimer's differs from dementia. I don't know the dividing lines because very often the diagnosis will be dementia, but it will be Alzheimer's because of behaviors that are common in the Alzheimer's patient. And at least the last time I heard, but I'm not current in the medical books, the only conclusive way to know that one has Alzheimer's is through a post-mortem examination of the brain and how it's pulled away from the cranium. And then they'll know. But happily, thank you, Lord, we know that the symptoms leading to that conclusive moment can be analyzed by loved ones watching the behaviors in their loved ones. And if you're diagnosed early, there are medicines that can help you to prevent the onset. There is no cure now, but we're going to walk like we've never walked before, September 29th. Okay, I'm going to be there, and I know that this particular segment will roll, for decades to come because that's how William runs it. This is not a time-sensitive thing in all eternity. But September 29th at Turner Park, Midtown Crossing, pardon me, we're going to gather and we're going to walk. You have a choice of a 1-mile walk or a 2-mile walk. I'm going to walk until I can't walk anymore for loved ones who have had this disease. My dad died with it in December. My mom has it. There are loved ones who can't walk, who I've come to really appreciate and know. I'm walking because I can. And I want to encourage everyone, please come out. It starts at noon. Excuse yourself, give the fingers to the pastor, tiptoe out, put your shoes on, bring some water. I'm sure that there'll be stands where you can purchase things, but it's always good to come prepared. If you want to meet me in all my zeal and craziness, I'm the African-American woman, fine as she can be, just gray dreads down to her back, and just beaming with joy for the event. Beaming like everybody else, but the gray dreads, I think, will be the indicator that you've met me. My name, by the way, is Carol Rogers, and I'm speaking on behalf of my mother, whose HIPAA rights I am not violating because her being a teacher and having protected her to the extent that I have as she is under this disease, I know that she would want me to educate people because she was such an amazing educator and a jazz pianist and a jazz vocalist. Many of you know my mother, Jean Dolores Rogers. And my dad, who is with the Lord now, was Reverend Eddie Rogers, New Hope Baptist Church. We miss him, but we know if we sojourn well, we'll be with him, because I know where he is and I know where my mama's going, and I just want to walk as long as I can and talk on this as much as I can, so that those of us who see our loved ones in reaching this kind of peril, and it is perilous, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be negative, but there's just no other way to put it. There's at the speaking September 13th, oh God, Lord Jesus, September 13th, 2013. Is it 14? I'm getting nervous. Today, 13th, yes. 13th, September 13th, 2013. See, I'm paying bills into 2014, so it's whatever day the bill needs to be paid. But whatever the date is, for now, at least at the airing of this original segment, there is no cure for this disease. And repeating again, it can be helped if you get an early diagnosis. And you know we African Americans don't like to go to the doctor. I'm confessing, as I did the other day, I need my annual checkups that we women have to go through, and it's like, yeah, I look forward to it. Yeah, sure, right. Pull my tooth. I'll pull my own tooth. But it's important that while we can't prevent certain things, we can treat certain things if we become involved in it. I want to say this, seeing as though I'm talking about early treatment. We African Americans are 4 times as likely, 4 veces más, ¿me entiendes? Mi gente buena, okay, 4 times as likely to get this disease than any other ethnicity, because we have a predisposition, a propensity toward high blood pressure and high cholesterol. Diabetes is also not helpful in this disease, as it can inevitably affect so many other functions. So heart disease may be a particularly powerful factor in the prevalence of Alzheimer's disease among African Americans. I've just said that, but I'm reading from a brochure that I got from the Alzheimer's Association, which is at 42nd and Center, right across from ENOA. If you're into quadrants, it's on the southeast quadrant of 42nd, and Center. Alzheimer's Association is on the 2nd floor. Go up and meet Mrs. Ewing and her wonderful staff. They will answer questions for you. I've sidebarred, but this is good. I'm going to keep rolling on this. Okay, they will help you with questions that you will need to know, the legalities involved as your loved one descends into this disease, and it's a descension. Physically, the body's going to die. We hope that it's an ascension spiritually into heaven. But she will help you to understand how to prepare your loved one for a very expensive long-term illness. Very expensive. Say that with me, someone. Very expensive long-term illness. Mrs. Shriver, Maria Shriver, was on Good Morning America, if I'm not mistaken, a couple of weeks ago. She had a loved one pass with Alzheimer's. Okay, she has money, so keeping him at home with 2 and 3 teams of helpers wasn't a greater issue, except the stress on her heart and the stress on her soul as she watched her loved one deteriorate doesn't change with money. But I'm telling you, for those of us who ain't got a lot of bank, whoa, hello, we need to know what resources are available to us. These kinds of questions, as your loved one goes on this journey, which cannot be returned, can be delayed somewhat, but it can't be thwarted. It cannot be prevented once it becomes, with modern technology as of September 13th, 2013. I'm on it now. I'm waking. That 5-hour energy drink has hit its mark. Also, data from a large-scale longitudinal, what a lovely word, longitudinal study indicates that persons with a history of either high blood pressure or high cholesterol levels are twice as likely to get Alzheimer's disease. Those with both risk factors are 4 times as likely to have Alzheimer's disease. Age is a key factor for Alzheimer's disease as well. The number of African Americans aged 65 and over will more than double by the year 2030. The number of African Americans ages 85 and over is growing almost as rapidly. And age being a factor, especially with, high blood pressure and high cholesterol being factors that aggravate our health and then can lead to Alzheimer's. Okay, that's more serious in a later time, how to prevent these sorts of things. But right now, I just want to make us aware. The goal for, as the other three segments, the goal is to keep us aware of the symptoms, to keep us aware of the fact that you're not alone. Please don't try to do this alone. You heard my stepmom a couple of days ago talk about how she loved my dad so much that she kept him with her. She had help, though she's such an amazing woman. She knew that she needed help. She wasn't prideful enough to say, I can do it myself or neglect her job. She got help, and she got it through the Midlands chapter of the Alzheimer's Association. The 800 number again, 24/7. Call this number. If you don't remember any other number, they have a local number. You give them your zip code and they'll direct you to Mrs. Ewing and her wonderful staff at the Alzheimer's Association. That number again is 800-272-3900. Again, write it on the wall. I lose pieces of paper. Yes, write it wherever, someplace safe. Once again, 24/7 hotline for Alzheimer's Association is 800-272-3900. As I realize this 1690 AM is far-reaching. I don't know its borders, but that is a hotline that is good for wherever you are in the nation to reach these wonderful people who will give you local help, who will help you to help your loved one as they go through it and help you. It's not easy to be a caregiver. It really isn't, and that's why I think this woman next to my right, isn't she beautiful? Yeah, she is very modest, but she has a super S on her chest, S for superwoman, because her love, her passion is geriatrics, particularly leading those afflicted with Alzheimer's disease, and I love her for her passion. As I love her co-workers, and I say that not flippantly at all. I do. I'm so grateful for them because they're caring for my mom, and I see the wonderful work that they do. My mom is in the best facility that Nebraska has to offer. I'm blessed to have her there. 5-star facility, the only one with 5 stars. And but they're 5 stars because of the wonderful work that wonderful people like Simone does, and each of the caregivers there, the CNAs particularly, do their job amazingly. The staffs are wonderful. You can talk to. I'm trying to promote the hospital. But I'm saying that there is care for your loved one that you can have in whatever place you have them. You are still the caregiver if you've seen it, and you need help, you need support, because this thing is not an easy disease. No disease is easy, but this lingers 10 or 15 years as your loved one deteriorates, as your loved one forgets to walk and stays maybe in a chair for years, assisted in feeding, not only orally, but maybe through a tube, and inevitably they forget to swallow, and then the Lord has them at his gate. That's a hard thing to see. It's a hard thing to see, but these loved ones, like Simone, are used to ushering them lovingly through all the stages. They're caregivers in a facility. If you want a facility, the Alzheimer's Association knows all of them, from the ones that are $9,000 a month to the ones that are Medicaid assisted, how to get on Medicaid, what to do about property before your loved one descends into this disease. There are fail-safes that you can do to protect that investment, if time permitting, because there is a buffer zone for certain things. Anyway, I can't get into the legalities of that, but talk to them, talk to someone. Let me talk to you about briefly about the 10 warning signs. I've done that before, and kind of divvying up. I'm going to say kind of things that are normal behavior in a person and things that are not quite normal. All right, if I'm just having a bad day and I'm sad, or maybe for me, I allow a pity party to go a couple of days. Usually celebrated well with, whatever makes me happy at the end of it because I've survived the pity party. But if it's a continual loss of interest, it's not a pity party. It's not just having a bad day or a bad week. It could be one of the signs of Alzheimer's, loss of interest, just that spark is gone. If I'm forgetting things, I'm the queen of forgetting things. I blame it on the estrogen dip being postmenopausal. I can only go on so long with that before one has to realize that if I'm forgetting things, if I forget not only names, the later stages of Alzheimer's will result in more acute memory loss that's very, very noticeable. You're like, wow, you used to know my name. To my mom now, I'm mostly young man. I take it because I know her, and it's not about her knowing me. But if the memory loss that affects your job skills, I'm having difficulty balancing my checkbook, simple numbers, or even using a calculator to help me do that, or I'm forgetting to pay bills, or I'm forgetting where I parked my car. I've assisted a couple of senior citizens who had lost their cars, and God sends angels. I'm just somebody he uses. I wouldn't equate myself with the angels that he sends around them to let them know that you can be safe, or let's call somebody who can help you, because this is serious if you forget where your car is. It's not little things. Don't sweat the little things. It's when it starts to mess with your daily flow. Familiar tasks. I forget to one of the things that was I've seen kind of almost uniformly prevalent in Alzheimer's people that I know is very often hygiene changes, hygiene habits change, dressing habits change. And it used to be that you do this all the time, locking the door at night or even closing the door. Familiar tasks, things that are routine, suddenly they're not the same. That's a tricky one. You have to really know the person that you're dealing with. But if you see these kinds of changes and they're repetitive, I've gone to sleep with the keys in the door, not often, but if it becomes a habit, something that is a habit that is off the familiar path, you might want to think that that's a symptom worth noting. And you might, as you hear these things, you can, yes, please rush down to the middle of this chapter, 42nd and Center, and talk to someone there. But also, too, get them checked out. An early diagnosis, I can't repeat this enough, an early diagnosis can delay some of the behaviors that are irreversible. And that's on your side to do. That's on your side to observe and say, hey, Grandma, you got your insurance. Let's go down and check this out. Or, I'll buy you lunch afterwards. Whatever it takes to entice your loved ones. A lot of them are proud and don't want this kind of assistance. But if you find a way to coax them lovingly to get a diagnosis, then you got both feet in the door, yours and your loved one, that you're pulling through toward a healthier protecting your health for as long as you possibly can. Poor judgment. No, decreased awareness of time and place. How can I say? I don't know how. Awareness of time and place. Getting lost. Hello. I've seen elderly people wander. I was in an apartment complex in Hollywood many, many years ago, and a lady was just wandering in the complex. I had no idea who she was. If your loved one wanders, get them safe return bracelets. My mother wouldn't wear it because she thought it was ugly jewelry. I got to the point where I would write with a magic marker if we were out. I would write my mother's name, my name, not hers, my name and my phone number on her like I used to do my kids. We're reversing roles. I used to write my name and my phone number on my kids' couple places. I'd write it on their back. I'd write it on their hands, just in case they wash their hands, which usually is not the case. But at least there was a way for them to, well, what's that? Well, I'm going to call this number. Time and place. They forget. It doesn't take long for them to forget where they are. You send them to the bathroom. They normally know how to do that. Coming back, they have no idea where they are. I like to call all of this the inability to connect dots that were so easily connected before. If you see that happening, this could be a sign of Alzheimer's. It can also be a sign of dementia, but leave that greater diagnosis or that lesser diagnosis to the doctor. But be proactive in doing something, please, loved ones who have these loved ones who need your help at this juncture. Okay, poor judgment. Oh, yes, they're talking about my failed marriage. No, we're not talking about, I don't mean to make light of that either. But poor judgment, that would be, in the things that I know, just giving away money, talking too much. My mother was exploited by the Adult Protective Service person who came in to just do that, to let me know that she was in danger to herself. Giving away things, or poor judgment can also be those filters that we normally have. And next thing you know, I'm learning things that cousin did with uncle such and such, and it's like, whoa, mama, wow. And it's in front of kids, and it's like, wow, the filters are gone. So the judgment that might say this isn't the proper thing to do, I'm going outside, I've got just my underwear and my bra on, that's happened to loved ones before. These judgments, the filter is gone, and they can't be held accountable for that filter. It's eroding if it's not gone. But that's one of the signs when the behaviors just don't connect dots like they used to, especially in poor judgment like this. Problems with thinking, that's the key connect the dot things. Problems with just thinking clearly. That can happen in the form of sundowning, for instance, which is one of the symptoms that I've mentioned before. For those of you who are listening to the whole series, I'm purposely being repetitive because these are things you need to know. Sundowning is a behavior that occurs by right of the name towards sundown, when there's just an irrational behavior, a flush of irrational behavior, and you can't get your loved one to settle down. I liken it to children who, right before about to go to bed, they can't be dealt with. They got this burst of energy, or this burst of concern, or they might cry for no reason or nag you. It's almost like that. Now keep in mind, as back in the day we used to call this, not knowing Alzheimer's, we called it old-timers disease, or going into your second childhood. That's exactly what it is. If you liken these behaviors to regressing into childhood, that's exactly what it is. So if you see your loved one behaving in that kind of way where they're not becoming more childlike, but more they're losing their dependence and maybe holding on to it fiercely, but they can't handle it. That could be a sign of Alzheimer's as well. Misplacing things. Oh, suki now. Misplacing things. All of us misplace things. I worry when I misplace things, having two parents with the disease. But, I forget where I'm doing things. And I'm going to take a little sidebar with this, because this is how Simone and I met. I was adult-proofing my mother's home when I met Simone. For those of us who think our loved ones, our senior citizens, you can be 50 on up, I've heard, even with the onset of Alzheimer's. If you feel that there's something wrong and you can lovingly get involved in adult proofing their home, do it, because clutter is confusion. Clutter is also dangerous. Clutter will threaten their safety, and also just create more confusion. So it will exacerbate what peace they have in their hearts, because they can't find things, they're misplacing things, and then the house is a mess. Some of the key things that you do when you're adult proofing, get rid of things. My mom liked to hold on to things. We never ever told her she was a hoarder. I think the word existed before the television show, but if you did that, she would pop your teeth out one by one. My mama Mama don't take no mess. Mama don't. Yeah. So, if you can lovingly come alongside them and begin to clean up the kitchen, organize their closets. They will definitely take the closet and make a mess of it again. Organize shoes. Get rid of things. Give them away. Be judicious in your way of dealing with how you get rid of things. Salvation Army will come and pick up things. You can maybe give them to your church. Clean that house. Be sure that if there are stairs, there's that rubber tape or non-skid tape that you put on each of the steps. When there are steps, upstairs, downstairs, even if there's a step leading to the backyard or whatever, be sure there's a railing there. They're going to need assistance because my mother, thank God, she's ambulating still, but they're going to need assistance. And anything that's dangerous, holes in the floor, carpet that needs to be fixed, take note of these. Now, Google everything. Houseproofing, you can get into it. Don't go to the hoarders because they strip people of things in 4 days and you're supposed to live with it. That's a different kind of thing. We're doing a loving act for loved ones who inevitably won't miss it too much. In my mother's case, I ended up having to do a lot of her adult proofing overnight. Because I put something in the trash, she would go out and pick it out of the trash. And I couldn't argue with her. So if you can find a time when someone takes your loved one away from home, they come back. My mother fussed at me. She was very, very unhappy with my taking things that had history. Some of it she could remember, but I knew it was just adding to clutter. Adult proofing the home as you are endeavoring to keep your loved one there might mean you have to turn off the stove to adult-proof the home. I ended up having to turn off the stove and lied to my mother. But she had forgotten that she understood it somewhere in her heart of hearts. I had to unplug her stove. In my case, there was enough money that I didn't have to worry about Meals on Wheels, which is a blessing. But I had her, for part of her socializing, I had her go out and get meals with the caregivers, and as part of her socializing, daily socializing. But I had to unplug that. Write notes on the microwave to unplug it. All kinds of fail-safes. Lock the basement door because the stairs were no longer safe for her downstairs, and it wasn't necessary for her to go there. Whatever it takes, may God grant you the sensitivity to see it or talk to somebody. We're not alone. I couldn't do the adult proofing by myself, and that's why, as I said, Simone came in and helped me immensely. Simone and her aunt, and your mom was with us then, wasn't she? She was, yeah. So I had 3 amazing women. We laughed and giggled, and you sniffed and snotted because you were so allergic to the cats. And just so sweet about it. I'm sorry, I can't take the cats. It was the sweetest thing because she's a worker. She's diligent. She puts her hand to the plow. She goes forward. But the evidence was the eyes and the nose and the snot that you can't fake, right? So, but do take into consideration. If you are concerned about a loved one who might be descending into this, adult proofing the home. That is, especially as you wish to keep them in their environment as long as you can, it's crucial that you make it as safe for them as possible. I'm sure that the Alzheimer's Association on 42nd and Center has information about adult proofing, but you can read about it, but you got to get in, and if you have to do an overnight party like I did, you do it, because that clutter is only going to make things unsafe. And also, it can be unhealthy as well, and it's also very, very dangerous, inevitably. So, changes in mood and behavior, that used to be my daughter. Yes, changes in mood and behavior. I'm only joking about this, you guys, because it's not that kind of premenstrual thing that we women go through. It's not that. It's different. The behavior... some of them have been spoken about. We're not connecting dots the way we used to. We're not reasoning properly. We're misplacing things. The confusion aggravates and agitates the mind. Sundowning can't be controlled because it's just something it's something new and something that they can't stop doing. And so the changes in mood and behavior aren't necessarily the ones that you've seen before. The main thing is your loved one. Things have changed in the mood and behavior. Be mindful of that. Changes in personality. Earlier this week, bye-bye, darling. Thank you so much. Happy birthday to us. Earlier this week, I had, please go to the first segment and begin to identify whether or not that alien is taking over your loved one's mind and body. Miss Portia Love had written an amazing article, and it was just talking about the alien that is inside her taking over her mother, and how different the behaviors were than she had ever been. Some of that doesn't happen until the latter stages of Alzheimer's. There are plateaus where you're okay, and then suddenly something will take you to another plateau that normally, under normal circumstances, doesn't reverse, but they're not. Sometimes it's gradual, but most of the time, in most of the books that I've read, it's likened to a plateau. Suddenly you're here, and then the next day you're here, and you might not get, your loved one might not get any better. So those are the 10 symptoms. And this is the one person that I'm so happy to speak to. Simone is just an amazing person, and we are doing everything. She's a professional, so all I can say is that. So we talked about your being at the house helping me to adult-proof. Wow. How important do you think that adult-proofing is?
It's very important.
Please, yeah. The closer you are, the better. Okay.
It's very important. Everything, be it a cat, be it toys, or a trash can, it's usually a fall risk, depending on their stage of Alzheimer's. They, a lot of people with Alzheimer's, they have no perception of
depth perception.
Yes,
it's
a big issue.
That's why stairs are so dangerous.
Even waxed floors.
Yes, because they think it's ice.
They do. And they will slide and they will fall, and it's just a waxed floor, but in their mind is something more. So if you have cords, if you have fans, floor fans, put them away. Put them away. You don't have to get rid of them. Maybe put them up higher. If you can mount them, that would be best.
And even if your house is immaculate, there are things, like she just said, the little things. The little things are dangerous things.
Yeah.
Rethink. Almost think like you when you child-proofed your home.
Yeah.
Think toward those end, but somebody who's taller, ambulatory, whatever's dangerous. You wouldn't put a fan in the middle of the floor because your baby might knock it over. So think toward that end, along that line, but really think proactively about what might be dangerous. Never ever take anything for granted, because it can become harmful to your loved one.
It can be a bath towel, and
how can a bath towel?
You can slip. They can slip.
That's true. It's on the floor.
Yeah, they do. A lot of people with Alzheimer's, I know in my facility, they're roamers. They roam. They may roam into another resident's room. They roam. They don't necessarily look down. Some of them, that's all they do is look down. So making sure there's a clear pathway, that's so important. It's very, very important.
And homes, I don't know. Homes can be wonderful. I won't make a broad statement about it, but be sure that it's adult-proof. Be sure that it's user-friendly to your loved one who is becoming that child again, and everything is dangerous, and everything that isn't safe could be dangerous, and assessing everything with that kind of sensitivity. Now, when I met you, you were not a CNA.
I was not. I worked in retail.
And how did you get into being a CNA?
How did I become a CNA?
I like to call you guys canards. It sounds so French. You are canard.
We'll take it. I've been called worse things. A lot, often.
Yes.
When I first met you, I worked in retail, and the program that I wanted to enter into, being an NA, nursing assistant, was one of the requirements, but it was something that I could have done later on. So I kind of became a CNA kind of on accident. I didn't use my CNA certification or my NA certification right away. I continued to work retail, and I said, I'm not satisfied with this. I have my NA, my nursing assistant certification. I'm going to work as an aide. And I was terrified at first. I didn't know anything about the disease. I just knew.
But why did you choose geriatrics then?
It's a special population. My grandmother's deceased. At the time, my mother was, I think my mother had been in her car accident. I'm not sure if she had or not. So I was kind of running out of grandparents. So I kind of stumbled into it. And I, now that I've done it, I would prefer to work with geriatrics than infants or... It's a special population. They still have stories to tell. I mean, they have Alzheimer's and dementia, but there's still so many lessons to be learned through them.
That's
so
amazing.
It's going into it. I probably, if I hadn't been exposed to the environment that I'm exposed to, that I work in right currently, I may have never gone into geriatrics. I may have. Now I don't see myself going anywhere else. I don't really know how to explain it to make it sound pretty.
It's calling.
But it's a very important population because we're losing our elderly. Mm-hmm. And like I say, they still have lessons. The words may not come out pretty. They may be laced with curse words, but they still have a story. And I love to listen to the stories, and I love to hear about who they are now and who they were. So
well, I think to some extent that we Americans don't revere our elderly people as some of the other cultures do. Yeah. We're caught up in, having to do, getting to do, and, oh, grandma's sick, it's not my problem, or, I don't have time for this, or just not, the stress factors that we have as younger people. Am I saying I'm younger? It's my birthday. Oh, Lord. The stress factors that we have as working individuals, I'll put it that way, keep us a little desensitized, I think, to the needs of the elderly, especially as they regress into dementia and Alzheimer's. I have a couple of questions to ask of you.
Okay.
Have you ever been hit?
Several times.
Yesterday. Have you ever been spat on?
Several times.
Have you ever been called even the N-word?
Several times.
Have you ever been punched? No, punched and hit are the same. There's a list. I see you guys go through it and I said, Lord, these are angels. Have you ever been hugged?
Yes. Yesterday.
Told that you're loved, that they love you?
Yes. I've been told sorry. I've been told yes.
And you've witnessed the dear ones on the floor laughing hysterically?
Yes.
And then crying uncontrollably?
It's true. 1 minute you're a daughter. 1 minute you're the enemy. You're a wife to someone that may have never been married before. But to them, and this may be within 5 minutes, a minute. 1 minute they love you, they want to embrace you, and then the next minute they're mad because you're pulling away from the embrace. Mm-hmm. So it's just, I've been called every name, I've been hit, and I keep coming back.
See, that is an amazing calling. That is an amazing calling for me. It's just, but like you said, at the core of that is your reverence for these amazing octogenarians, nonagenarians, these people are 80, 90, 70 years old who have been through
50,
some things.
And 60.
50 and 60. And see,
yeah,
this is my birthday. Don't talk to me about that number. I'm too close to it.
It doesn't discriminate.
No, yeah. And I joke about it, but yeah, actually I was reading about Dr. Alzheimer, who it's named after him because he did a histopathology or something was his thing. He was first to examine the brain by silver tainting or something to see how, in a post-mortem setting, how the brain in a mentally ill woman in Germany in the latter 1800s, why it was that she was behaving this way. So the disease is named for him because of his interest in this kind of mental illness, and he was the one to for anything else, really deal with the histopathology or something of it. Forgive me if I'm mispronouncing the word, but after the fact, post-mortem examinations of the brain, particularly in this illness, and his patient was 51 years old. Yeah. So don't think that it's just older people. It's just brains that can go that way, and it, like you said, it's not a discriminator.
It's not.
Oh, gosh, I sit in awe of what you do because I've seen what you do and I see your heart toward it. But you have aspirations to be a nurse.
A nurse.
Yes. Would you stay among the geriatrics?
I would. I would. My only fear about going into further into nursing is that I will lose the relationship. I do not want to be a pill passer. I do not want. I want to further my education. That's true. I do, but I don't want to lose the bond that I have.
Yeah, and the hierarchy does
sometimes
change.
you lose it.
You
sometimes,
do.
not always.
Well,
it's a choice,
but no, the job description changes.
It does.
You're not as hands-on.
It does, and that's kind of one of my concerns.
Yeah, and to have the passion that you have, and to feel as though you would lose something with an upward gradient in your job, still with the geriatrics, to lose that one-on-one, that tactile thing as your primary connection, that says so much. And I know a lot of the CNAs that I talk to on the floor feel the same way. They love what they do. They love what this. They've been there like 20 years, one of them that I know of.
Oh, yeah.
And yes, you could change, you could do other things, but they have a passion for it. I mean, I guess the part that, I can take it. Oh, don't. She's such a loving person. I mean, just, the feeding of, you feed the person, sometimes that's when you get spat on. And then you realize you've got a very full adult diaper that you have to deal with later. This is something I could not do for my mother. I've bathed my mother. I could do anything through Christ who strengthens me. I just have to really say that. But I'm really grateful that that being maybe too much for me, there are people who don't mind. This is part of the job description, is to serve a loved one, serve their patients like this, clean up messes. Oh gosh, everything. Just.
My mother was in a really, really bad car accident in 2000, and I want to say 7. Yeah, she just passed away in 2008. My mother was a hard worker all her life, single parent, never wanted for anything, my brother and I. My mother, after her car accident, at one point in time, she was non-weight bearing. I actually went into the hospital and cleaned my mother from top to bottom.
But there were people there to do that.
There were people there, but she wasn't comfortable. She didn't feel comfortable. She didn't feel clean. And rather, at the time I was a CNA, and I cleaned my mother from top to bottom. My mother, sometimes her bowels wouldn't move, and I would have to give my mother an enema. So and I lost my mother, like I said, in 2008. So, that is part of our job. That is not the only part of our job, but that is one of the things that we have to do. It's not the most pleasant thing that we do, but it's they can't do it for themselves.
Exactly.
And I wouldn't have let my mother stay in her own feces or her own urine, so why would I let somebody else's? So it's not glamorous, not that part of it, no, but it has to be done. And they can't. And if they could do it for themselves, they would. But they can't, and that's why they're there. So it's challenging, but it's not cut out for everyone.
Obviously,
so, yeah.
Obviously, and especially, what I'm marveling at, is the dedication to want to continue to do it because you love the people. The work is needful. And even with, the pros and cons, it's still, your heart is there to continue doing it.
It has to be. If you're not a compassionate, sympathetic, empathetic person, you won't make it there. It'll show, and you shouldn't be there. You shouldn't be there because it's not a cozy, comfortable job. It's not for everyone. It's not. And I've seen people go that needed to go, and that was great because they didn't need to be there. But I think if you have a good base, a good team, a good family, good families, it all works together. I look at my coworkers as my family members. I look at the families of the residents as my family because they become your family. Because we can't, in some situations, a lot of situations, we can't help them without the help of their families.
Of course.
So we all become a family. And you have to, because we're in their home.
Yeah, and
So-
this is the extension that I'm telling you about. They take over the immediate caregiving, but they still need our support. They really, really need our support. They need to know the particulars of our loved one that only we would know because we knew them before they went in. And also, too, just that balancing of opinions and decisions is still done by the, obviously the hands-on work that is done, but they need our voices. The Alzheimer's Association is there for us. Please give them a call if you are concerned, even in the least, about someone who is showing the signs. Please get them to a doctor if you can. But even then, go arm yourself with information. Like my stepmom said a couple of days ago, there are grants that you can get if you want to keep your loved one at home, and they will bring in certified. They will bring in the CANAs. They will bring them in and supplement and pay for their being there to relieve you, and you're going to need that kind of help. So I don't know exactly what the budget is. Those sorts of things aren't for me to talk about, but they're for you to seek out because they're there for you. That helpline, once again, is 24/7, 800-272-3900. And don't forget that we're walking September 29th, Turner Park in Force. Now, I won't give my name. I have a team. You've heard my name. If you want to go online and support my team, that's great. But it's not about me, you guys. It's about showing up in force. If you got $1, great. If you don't have $1, that's fine. If you want to go online and choose a friend, maybe you see a name that you recognize. This moment, these interviews, the time that the loved ones are giving me to bring awareness and action to this disease, it's not about any one person, not only just me. It's not about any one person. It's about all of us banding together with knowledge and with the ability to endure. Endure. That verb is very important. That word is very important. How do we endure? Because this is a very, very, very long disease. It can go on for a decade or more. And our loved ones deteriorate. We need help. It's hard on us, but we're not alone. We're really not alone. So I'm pointing us to the Alzheimer's Association. The hotline is the quickest way to go if you can only remember one number, and then we go on from there to the direct help that they will plug us into, and they are most helpful. All right, I cannot thank Simone enough. And by the way, she has been Employee of the Month. She's a star. Yes, she's a star. She's been Employee of the Month. She is a celeb. Okay. Yeah. And, I would vote her in every month, and, I'm biased. I love them all, but, she's here, and, just love her to death because we have history with her helping my mom. So I just want to thank you, and I'm going to end this segment with the song that my daughter wrote, once again for her grandmother and her grandfather, which just basically encourages us as caregivers to stand up for those who are afflicted, for those who can't stand for themselves, and stand and show them what you can do. There is so much that we can do, so much that can be done for us, but so much that we can do individually. But it takes standing. And I want you to come out to Turner Park, 12 o'clock. Once you stand up out of your car, walk. We're going to walk. And I tell you, after I get through that fourth time doing that 2 miles, that's 8 miles. I'm trying not to do the footage on that. I'm going to do a little jiggle. I've been practicing my jiggle. It's kind of like my birthday dance. All right. I thank you guys for listening, and the laughter is not to make levity of this auspicious occasion to bring this information to you, but just to realize that we are optimistic for a cure. We are optimistic for hope and help for those who are surrounding and supporting, and I just encourage you, reach out to someone. Here comes my daughter, Bethany Grant. I'm a doting mother at this moment, singing what I think is the best tribute that she's given to her late granddaddy and to her mother, both of whom have dealt with Alzheimer's. My mother's still dealing with it. Here we go. Thank you so much, you guys. Technical error. The thing is moving. He gave me a quiz. Oh, I'm going to blow up the world. William, I'm going to blow up the world. Oh, no. That's not my sister. That's not my daughter.
Tribute.
Will you see? Okay. Hold tight, you guys. I'm going to roll it back, yeah. Technical difficulty. That's what happens with technology in the hand of the elderly. Okay. Coming at you again. Take two. Thank you, Simone.
Will you wait till there's no more time? Will you see when they call you blind? Like they know what's inside of you. Don't wait up for the moment to pass you by. They say that it's the truth, but you know they're lies. Just look into the mirror, feed on the passion that's in your eyes. Will you stand up? Just stand up for what you feel you know is right. Won't you stand up? Just stand up. Don't deny the power you feel inside. Will you stand? Can you stand up? In the end, you show 'em what you can do. Till your strength is gone, will you break? When all hope is gone, or will you show them that they're wrong? Don't wait up for the moment to pass you by. They say that it's the truth, but you know they're lies. Just look into the mirror, feed on the passion that's in your eyes. Will you stand up? Just stand up for what you feel you know is right. Won't you stand up? Just stand up. Don't deny the power you feel inside. Will you stand? Can you stand up? In the end, you show 'em what you can do. Never look back unless you wanna see where you're gone. Never let your competition be the one in the reflection. Stand on your ground, pick yourself up. Now is the time. Will you stand up? Just stand up for what you feel you know is right. Won't you stand up? Just stand up. Don't deny the power you feel inside. Can you stand up? In the end, you show 'em what you can do. Stand up.
pulling out a knot. Strapped with the Glock, we don't pull it out a lot.